we can start with how you came to move from, I think, really extraordinary on the ground community organizing to step into something that can sometimes potentially for people feel detached from that of code, quite abstracted from that on the ground experience. Like, how did that transition begin for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What a good question. It's so funny because I think that I, like so many people who have, gotten into the software engineering industry later in life, I come from maybe something that we could call humble origins as far as coding is concerned. My first love was Google Sheets. You mentioned that in a previous life, worked in issue advocacy and political organizing. In 2020, I was an organizer in Iowa for the Iowa caucuses. And I remember all the way back then being alone in my car in the middle of a cornfield, on my way from one meeting to a next, and looking at all of the people that I needed to meet with, all of the organizations that I needed to chat with, all of the things that I needed to do. And I was looking at this on a spreadsheet and doing so much copy and pasting, so much rote work, and I was pulling my hair out thinking there has got to be a better way to do this. And so I, started, making my little Google Sheets formulas, making things just a little bit easier for myself at that time, doing the work that I was really passionate about. And I think fast forward to now, that through line has really stayed with me. The reason why I'm interested in software, the reason why I'm interested in technology, is first and foremost to help people do the things that they were already trying to do to begin with. So many people outside of this industry that we call tech have work to do, have things that they are passionate about, have goals and ambitions that they are bringing to their communities. And I believe that the role of tech should be to empower those people to do the work that they were already doing. A tool that helps no one is no tool at all, you might say.
Given that the project we worked on together so far has been a Sheets-based implementation and neural network, what it was like to try to build a neural network with just a few days of notice.
In some ways, choosing to create this neural network in Google Sheets was a return to my roots. As you know now, after all of this time learning JavaScript and Python, and all of these, core technologies that we use as software engineers, the thing that would really, let me rise above the pack would be Google Sheets.
To be honest, I'll show, like, for me, and maybe you felt the same way, but as I was trying to put this together, like, one of the things I wrestle with is the idea that when you're trying to reason about really complex, I guess, interdependencies, like in any system, but I think it's at the heart of the struggle that is taking, for example, technology to solve a local community's challenges or build tools for a local community is you've got to kind of go all in on two quite potentially radically different areas: what it is to be on the ground in a local community doing stuff, and then what it is to do that within code and within technology. I think it's very difficult, or it's very unique to have gone in on both of those.
Yeah, and I think that it brings up this difference between, the work that we do in order to build tools that are used in production, that are used by real people, and building curriculums to help our students
Mm.
learn how to build those, tools themselves. And in one of those situations, when you're building tools for people to actually use, your goal is definitely to abstract away all of the technology, so that, your end user, can just log in and do exactly what they need to do, and they don't need to think about, any of the hard parts.
Yeah.
Whereas, with our students and with the residents at Codesmith, one of the joys about building a curriculum is that you get to, go, let's say, like 90% of the way. You abstract away just the parts, that are getting in the way of someone's learning, and then that opens up the gates for the students to do the rest of it themselves. When I'm thinking about what it is that students need, the most, if we want to stick with, with teaching and building curriculums. As a teacher, it's so easy to think that what students really need is for you to come in and give them the answer, for you them to actually teach them something new. And in my experience, what most students need is actually the opposite. This gets to, the core principle of hard learning that we do here at Codesmith. I find that most students, what they really need to learn a new concept, to learn a new technology, is for me, the teacher, to get out of the way. For me to set up their environment so that they have all of the tools necessary to get there. But at a certain point, I can step away and all they need is just a little bit of silence, a little bit of patience, in order to get themselves, to 100%.
Can you get like really specific about what technology needs there are in community organizing? You talk about the mutual support structures you create and the real needs people have, and how many people are really in your position who've lived that world and then are now able to build really anything you want.
Yeah, well, for those who might not know already, so the work that I do outside of Codesmith is that I'm very involved in local mutual aid networks in New York City. I think that I'm a bit of an anomaly among software engineers in a funny way, not because I'm interested in using tech for the public good. Many software engineers are interested in that, and to reach the world, to change the world, dare I say. And the work that I do in local organizing is just that. It's local, and I have found that over the time that I have been working in organizing, that I have been doing this work not only in New York City but like across the country. I have found that when you try to scale up human connections, something gets lost every single time. As soon as you try to build on the connection between two people who are neighbors, who both believe in the same things and want to, have the same goals, as soon as you try to scale that up to an organization or to a network of 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people, you start to lose something every step of the way. And so for me as an engineer, I am very interested in building, small scale, hyper focused systems to help folks do the organizing that they were planning to do when it was just 100 people that they were trying to reach, not 100,000. And for those kind of problems, for that kind of work, you don't really need anything fancy. You don't need the latest and greatest, the best, the most efficient, the most cutting edge technologies. You need folks who have that experience, but who are willing
Yeah.
to put in the work in order to apply it to what's to the work that needs to be done. In some ways, nothing has changed since I was, a lone organizer in the middle of an Iowa cornfield. So, yeah, with my Google Sheets, trying to build something that would solve the problem that I had at that moment. Um, Now, almost 5 years later, the tools have changed, but the goals have not in some ways. I'm still simply building solutions, building technology that will provide a solution for the organizers that I know, for myself, for other people in my community. The things that folks really need when they're doing this kind of mutual aid work is systems for organizing the work that they're doing, systems for communicating with each other, systems for ensuring their privacy. Given that so many, like you said, so much of big tech is really interested in finding out all of the nitty gritty about exactly what we're doing with our days, every single hour of the day. That those kind of small scale private systems, private technologies, are the things that are going to make the biggest difference for folks doing the underground organizing.
I remember there was a brilliant Codesmith student like 8, 10 years ago who was a DACA recipient, and we sponsored a hackathon for DACA recipients. And the thing he built, which got quite a lot of coverage, was, you know how WhatsApp is encrypted end to end, and it's meaningfully important, right? Like this was an encrypted end to end, more broad, like canvas, like messaging. So more like a document as opposed to WhatsApp's end to end encrypted messaging. And so you could plan, you could organize, confident in the encryption, which at this point was relative breakthrough. Confident
Mhm.
your plans were encrypted end to end within this Google Docs, but more secure. Is it things like that? Are there particular tools that you found, very specifically you've built out?
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's really telling to look at what tools people in the organizing space are already using. One of the number one tools that organizers in many different domains are using across the country, around the world, is Signal. The reason is because it is encrypted, because it gives them the level of privacy in order to be able to do the work that they're doing safely. In the case of your example, when folks who are working with DACA recipients or with undocumented communities. That's work that requires a certain level of privacy, and so the technologies that I am building, have built, are very much based in that first and foremost, or else we can't get it off the ground.